that he had going. You know what I'm saying? As far as
Yeah.
maybe not Ready to Rumble the movie, but the fact that WCW had him do that, and he even said, "Yo, I don't think this is a good idea." Like it's making it's like you're not having respect for the title. You know what I mean? And fans, just like in the movie, diehard fans really take this shit seriously even today. So I feel like that's the most interesting thing that surrounds the I guess the history of this film, is that in a lot of ways this movie messed up Arquette's career, because after that whole stigma happened with WCW, he didn't the roles weren't coming in the same, and that's why I wanted to say to watch that documentary, because it gets into all the details of it and shows you how it deeply affected him and his family and just his life, even till all these years later.
Didn't the storyline, like, didn't they make him, like, him and Batman Dallas Page kind of like, they were like a team, right?
Yes.
But then he was the villain in the movie, and I remember seeing, like, I would even remember thinking, like, what the fuck is this? Like, it fell off. I think they thought that it was gonna be a bigger story than it was, and it fucking backfired on them big time. And then didn't he eventually, like, lose it? Like, didn't they lose it? He lose it to him?
Yes. I think somebody turned on him and he lost it. But the cool thing, Arquette, at least from what I read, he donated all the money that the WCW paid him to a bunch of the families of deceased wrestlers who passed away, was Owen Hart and a few others. He just gave all the money away.
Oh wow, that's cool.
To them.
That's awesome.
Because it's important to put into context. Before all this, even now, David Arquette is a big, huge, diehard wrestling fan in real life. It's not really him, like, just pretending. He actually loves wrestling.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, you can obviously tell from I've been following him on Instagram for a while, and for a minute, all he was posting was him and his wrestling matches.
And he's all fucking jacked.
Yeah, he's all jacked, and he's like, face is bloody, and it's like, oh shit, he's really in this. And I really want to watch that documentary now. So I'm glad it's on Hulu, so I can finally get to see it.
Ryan, have you watched it yet?
I haven't seen it. I'm definitely gonna. I didn't know it was on Hulu, so I'm definitely gonna check it out. When it was announced and when it came out, I wanted to see it. I just never got around to.
Yeah, definitely watch it. I feel like it has the potential to change your life in one aspect or another. Do you guys have a favorite moment in the film? And what are your thoughts on Rose McGowan being in this?
Right.
She was in everything from like 99 to 2003.
Yeah. She was probably on the top of the list for everything in regards to, like, the hot girl that's supposed to, like, like the love interest in a movie.
Yeah, and she took over when they brought her on to Charmed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when she started to become a real, like, household name for a while.
Yeah, I remember when they brought her in, I'm like, who the hell is this?
She replaced.
You got another sister?
Shannon Doherty?
Yeah.
That she replaced? Because I think Alyssa Milano and Shannon, like, really fucking did not get along. And because Alyssa Milano had, I guess, clout, or she knew she had more, she knew she had more connections, they kicked Doherty out and brought Rose on.
I'd say one of my favorite scenes, or memorable scenes that was from the actor, I forget his name, but the Sherman guy. But all of his little things like, "I gotta go. My dad says yakking on the phones for pussies," or when he's like, "Can you believe what they did to the king?" He's like, "Yeah, man, it makes me want to puke." But my dad says puking's for pussies. So yeah, I think those like those one or two lines that he had in that, I thought were hilarious.
It's funny how, and I don't know if it's because they were writing from a PG-13 perspective, but you can totally tell like the kind of humor that this that was popular back then.
Yeah,
where it's definitely male driven, but kind of sexist sometimes. Even like the interactions with the guys and the Nitro girls, and they're just like drooling over them, and then they're watching them,
or they're watching them in the dressing room.
In the dressing room.
I think my favorite scene is the scene where Sting comes and takes DDP out.
Yeah,
and then I think he hits. Does he hit Sean? He knocks him out.
Yes.
And then Gordy's like, "Now me, do me."
Yeah.
I think that's how it be. This thing was one of my absolute favorites during that era. So yeah.
Or when the owner, who is supposed to be I forget who's the showrunner. I know it's the dude from The Matrix.
Titus Sinclair.
Yeah, who is supposed to be? It was supposed to be originally Eric Bischoff, but I guess Eric Bischoff got outed because he was fired before this movie went into production.
Shit.
But I found the scene where he goes up to Sting, and Sting's like in the locker room, and he's like, "If you fuck this up, I will kill you."
he plays a good villain.
Yeah, I feel
very very easy to hate.
It's kind of crazy that this movie, it came out in 2000, and I know they're kind of like struggling to get fans to watch and to tune in and stuff like that. But it's kind of crazy that just like a year later, WWE would buy them out basically. They did all that basically for nothing.
Yeah, so they were hurting. So the WCW they were hurting that bad. Is that? So you're saying that's why the main reason for this movie?
No, I'm just saying like it's crazy that they did this movie, like they spent all this money on this movie, and then like a year later, that's when they WWE bought them and they merged. Like
right.
To go from something to making their own movie to that is wild. And another thing I always found like weird with this movie is like obviously like Goldberg's in it and Diamond Dallas Page, but like I think it maybe would have done better if they would have brought in like the entire WCW roster and not just them two and like a couple, like I think like Bam Bam Bigelow and Sting shows up obviously, and like
was it Rey Mysterio?
Disco Inferno? Yeah, Rey Mysterio shows up. I think if they would have brought in like the bigger stars out, maybe it would have done a little better.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue with this is that it struggles with focusing on the wrestling aspect as opposed to what can we do to make these guys like it's trying to do Dumb and Dumber, and then the wrestling aspect kind of takes a back seat. And I feel like if they've paid more respect to the wrestling culture and made it more of a wrestling film, it probably would have fared better, But I mean, is there really any other movies like this? Like, isn't it just like in its own kind of subgenre?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that's like this.
Yeah, it's one of a kind, and I think it's for good reason. I don't think they should ever do another one.
I know there was plans for a sequel that, of course, it didn't pull in the money that they were expecting, so those plans were scrapped.
I loved Gordy's character at the end, though. His WCW alter ego, like the sheriff with the sleeves ripped off, and oh man, how he just like he flies in with the motorcycle, super unrealistic, but definitely for the times it made sense.
It's the
And Sean, isn't his character like a
He's supposed to be like a
right?
pimp. Yeah.
he's like the Godfather.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, or for me, that was relatable is like having your, like in Gordy's perspective, having your parents not really back you in what you love and what you believe in, and following your dreams. Where the entire movie, his dad is like this kind of wingnut sheriff, I think, and then he's just so dead set on having Gordy follow in his footsteps, where it doesn't matter, nothing matters except for he's going to be a cop, essentially. So then it's funny that towards the end of the film, Gordy kind of gives up and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to listen to my dad and fuck everything else. And then he kind of turns the tables and uses that persona within the wrestling industry and kind of flips, everything on its head and gets the best of both worlds, I guess you could say, which was it's a pretty cool twist.
Yeah, you get that when his dad first arrests him or whatever, or throws him in the back, and he's like, just because it's your dream doesn't mean it's right or noble or whatever. He's like, dreams are, yeah. He said, what do you say? Charlie Manson had a dream, or he was following his dream.
Yes.
Like, look where that got him. He's like, same thing with Stalin and what do you say? Michael Bolton. So random.
And it's funny because I feel like parents will say whatever they can to get their point across, or to get you to like change your mind. When they don't want you to do something, they will say the most ignorant, weird shit sometimes.
Very true. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I feel you on that. I think that's a universal thing. But despite how corny and this movie is, I do find it entertaining. It's definitely worth a watch every once in a while. I don't think this is a movie that you put on all the time, but definitely something to put on in the background while you're doing something or just trying to kill time. I think it's definitely a good one to for that, if you're going to do it that way. But or even if you haven't seen it, or it's been a long time since you've seen this, I think it's a movie like something that should be watched though.
Yeah,
just for the nostalgia of it.
Definitely. And that finale, the Royal Bash, where they do the triple cage match.
Yes, yeah, that was insane.
It's so gnarly. I think that's only ever been done in real life twice, and it just looks like it shouldn't be done.
A death trap for sure. Someone's dying. I was thinking that last scene when the king throws Diamond Dallas through the top and he goes all the way through the bottom and hits the mat. I'm like, yeah, that dude would have been dead or at least paralyzed from that fall. That was gnarly.
Yeah, when he goes through basically the 3 cages.
Yeah, just smacks on the mat. Oh man.
I wouldn't put it past fucking AEW now to do something like that, though. They do fucking crazy stuff like that every
No,
week.
not at all. They are so extreme. I feel like that's what the WWE is missing now. Or I guess they're they're trying to get back to that, which I think they are on their way. But as soon as AEW came out, they were swinging for the fences. And they haven't stopped. I think that's where, like I said, that's where WWE was lacking. They were kind of in a stuck in the old ways. They weren't really. They're trying to do something. I don't know what they were trying to do, but it wasn't working.
Well, it's like that scene. I think it's the beginning scene when DDP turns on, or he beats Jimmy King, and I think it's. Gordy who says like, this isn't even pay-per-view, when like all the guys come out and they're just beating the shit out of him, That's how I feel
Yeah.
a lot of the times watching AEW. Like, this isn't even pay per view. I'm getting them for fucking free. Like, shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they go 110% every single, like almost every single match, which is crazy.
They